Is it Footmas in July? We'll see.
There goes Davis. Oh my God! Davis is going running all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game.
Hello and welcome to this episode of War Eagle Weekly. How we doing, Josh?
We're doing pretty good, man. Got the family back from Florida. Had some family days past couple of days, but tonight we're ready to talk about Big Cat Weekend.
Oh, hell yeah, man. This is one of those things that here before we get into that, because I do want to talk about Big Cat, and that's what we're going to talk about in this episode. But man, shout out to our 100 subscribers. We just hit 100 subscribers on YouTube. That is the first goal for us. We don't want to stop there, everyone. We want to keep on going, but we want to say thank you to all of our regular listeners and viewers. Absolutely couldn't do this without you. We enjoy this like we do. Like we've always said, we do this because we're fans. We enjoy talking about it. We'd be having this conversation anyway. It's just we're wanting to share our opinions with everybody, and maybe some people will watch. So definitely, absolutely, positively love the fact that we got people watching and subscribing. But again, let's get back into it. Let's talk about Big Cat Weekend.
Let's do it,
dude. This is one of those things where years ago, with Gene Chizik, I'll be perfectly honest. That's obviously when Big Cat started getting really big. I don't even know if they did it before Gene Chizik, but I didn't pay attention to recruiting. I didn't care about recruiting until Big Cat Weekend. I paid attention to that, see what we would get. You know, I think we ended up getting Michael Dyer to commit that weekend way back when. I can't remember specifically, but I'm pretty sure it was or soon after. And then after that, I kind of just forgot about recruiting until National Signing Day. Fast forward 14 years, and here we are following recruiting more so than I ever have and hanging on every word. You know, Josh, Big Cat is something that I think for really you pretty much introduced me to.
Yeah, man. Recruiting is a second religion to me, man. I follow it so closely. I love everything about recruiting. It's just what goes into recruiting these high school students from the college staffs that recruit. Like, it's not even just Auburn recruiting that intrigues me. It's just recruiting in general.
Yeah.
It's just there's so much more into it than just casual fans honestly realize. And until I started paying attention to it like I do, it's just it's crazy. I think the first year I remember watching recruiting like it was my religion. I think it was the year that Cyrus Kwanjo committed to Auburn and then decommitted. I think that's whenever signing day was a huge big deal. And I remember staying up all night watching all the coverage and then staying up all day watching all the commitments. And even if it wasn't an Auburn commitment, I was just watching where these guys were going and what was like trying to decipher what's going through their minds while they're on national television, telling everybody where they're going to spend the next 3 to 4 years of their college lives. It's just recruiting is just so awesome and intriguing to me. And I love everything about it.
And then last year, I think we both hit a all new high on how closely we were following it, just with the recruiting class and the athletes we were going after. But let's talk about the athletes we're going after in this class. We got Big Cat Weekend coming up. It is Friday as we record this, so we have some athletes that are joining. Getting into town tonight. Most of them are going to be tomorrow and then into a little bit of Sunday. But, right here on the screen, these are some of our biggest targets we got going on. People may not recognize, some of them by their face, but I can promise you this, they know who they are. And so starting right off, Josh, again, Big Cat is it is the premier weekend in college recruiting. Everyone, talks about how big of a deal Auburn's big weekend is. Everybody's tried to replicate it. Alabama, they grill up some meat and, kind of try to entice some players that way. But really,
Trey Thompson have their little cookout.
Yeah. And this year, they're not even doing it tomorrow. Saturday.
They're on Sunday. They can't compete.
Sunday.
Compete.
So absolutely such a big deal. Something that, hopefully we see a lot of commits. We got the commitment list here, we got the visitor list here You know, some of your top targets, Naheem Offord. You got Caleb Cunningham did end up saying that he wasn't coming, so this graphic is a little incorrect. Isaiah Gibson's going to be there. Jared Smith, that's someone that everyone thinks is going to commit on the 3rd is when his is, or is that Fagan's?
I think it's Fagan's. And is Naeem Offord official to be visiting this weekend? I don't see him anywhere.
It's not official, but it is widely believed that he will be here.
Okay.
Again. It's just one of those things that everyone believes that he's going to be there. I saw it on the On3 forum. They were talking about it and saying that he was going to be here. If he does show up, it's a big deal because he's already, you know, made comments about, you know, essentially never say never on his recruitment, you know?
That's true. Yeah.
But of everyone on this, Jared Smith is the most likely to commit to Auburn.
Yes.
He's Auburn's, you know, closest to committing, and I'm pretty sure everyone is, you know, waiting for that official commitment.
At this point, I would say Derek Smith might be the closest to committing to Auburn. But I mean, when I say commit, I mean flipping from the Alabama Crimson Tide and committing to the Auburn Tigers. I'm pretty sure he would be the closest one over Jared.
And everyone talks about this guy being just get him in the class, get him on campus, and then figure out what to do with him. He's one of the top athletes in the country. Like you said, committed to Alabama right now. Alabama does that whole thing where, you know, I'm making something up here. This is not confirmed, but they're like, oh, we'll give you a nice big signing bonus if you commit on this visit right here, right now. And hey, if I was an athlete, why not go ahead and commit? And then, you know, even if you flip, then oh well. If you stay, then you get that extra chunk of change. It's got to be what they're doing. I
mean, it's been hinted at by even recruits this recruiting cycle. Yeah. It's just I don't know what Kalen DeBoer is doing. He's doing something slightly right at the very least. They just lost a flip to UCF. Like, they just had a defensive back flip to UCF today. So I don't know if the downfall is starting. There's a lot of people saying that Derek Smith. There's a lot of people saying that Derek Smith was upset at how they made Caleb Cunningham a bigger priority than him because they wanted Derek Smith to play primarily wide receiver, but Derek Smith can legitimately play all over the field.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they you know, Alabama did something right in the beginning and they're starting to, you know, just lose all momentum, which I'm hoping is the case. But
yeah,
if Derek Smith flips to Auburn this weekend, that's it. No matter what, it's a win.
Yeah, no, it definitely is a win because the guy he's one of the top players in the state, and you know, Hugh Freeze has made the state a priority. And moving right along in the state, you're talking about Anquan Fagans, who is one of the biggest players that we need to get committed.
Yes.
He plays safety. We need players at safety. We're good in the backfield. We're recruiting cornerbacks like crazy, and maybe they think that some of them can play safety if all else fails. But an Anquan Fagans type commitment here is just such a huge boost to this recruiting class, and really what Big Cat Weekend is all about, in my opinion.
Yeah, no kidding.
Just
putting
that final nail in the coffin of all the teams around us and all the teams going after these players. Then we got Eric Winters, Malik Autry, who we need to solidify his recruitment. A lot of people talking about he is one of those players that's on flip watch and may not be in this class at the end of the
I doubt that, dude. I feel like every time I see him post on social media, it's just nothing but Auburn, and how he's only going to visits, you know, just to have the experience.
Yeah,
I don't think Malik Autry is going anywhere. I would be concerned about Florida, but I don't think Malik Autry is going anywhere at all.
Yeah. Again, Hugh Freeze is putting a commitment to winning the state. Zion Grady is going to be here visiting this weekend. That's probably not going to flip. Herbert Scroggins announced earlier in the week that he wasn't going to be there. However, I was listening to the On3 podcast or the Auburn Live podcast today, and they were talking about don't be surprised if Herbert Scroggins actually does show up. His teammate is actually going to be here, and they're saying, hey, maybe he is going to be, just hitch a ride and come on up and show up. And so he might be one of those surprises. He really just is one of those players that everyone thought he was a lock for Auburn, and Miami swooped in. Hopefully it was just kind of a rash moment type thing, because it would be great. But Zion Grady getting away from us in the same week, we talked about this. It seems like forever ago, whenever Zion Grady committed to Ohio State and then Scroggins jumped to Miami. But I
don't buy that commitment.
Scroggins or Grady?
Yeah, I don't buy Scroggins' commitment. I just don't buy it.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel right, does it? It just really doesn't.
It just doesn't. No. But Zion Grady, I don't know. That one could be a 60-40, 50-50 coin toss. It's just, I know he loves Auburn, but he might like the potential of playing earlier at Ohio State. I don't know.
Yeah. And then Usman Kroma, he's the Thunder to what?
I said, please, Lord, please give us Usman Kroma. Oh my goodness. I just want to hear his name in Auburn's context.
Yeah, it's so bad. It's a fun name. It's a fun name. But he's the Thunder to Alvin Henderson's Lightning. And, we were pushing for him real hard before Alvin flipped. So maybe we can get him to land here and keep him away from FSU.
But it don't matter if he goes to FSU anyways.
Dude is a beast. He just looks.
He's a really friggin' monster. I hate doing this, especially when you're talking about a player that might commit to Auburn and play for Auburn. But he's one of the better backs in the last decade. When I watch Usman Kroma's tape, I think of Derrick Henry, and it's very eerie how similar the playing styles between the two are. He just runs over everybody, and he's a lot faster than his size would suggest.
Yeah. Well, he does. He looks faster. 215. He's like your traditional power running back in the SEC, and so he would just fit in perfectly at Auburn. And hopefully we can land him. Jacaleb Falk is going to be here. Keldrick is his brother. Hopefully we can hold on to that recruitment. Blake Woodby. This dude is on commitment watch this weekend.
His official date is set for the 29th. His official commitment is the 29th, but he's it's widely thought that he's going to pull the trigger earlier this weekend.
Would be absolutely amazing. I mean, a lot of people kind of maybe even forgot about him. We got a lot of hype. I'm just saying we got a lot of hype about him right when he decommitted from Ohio State and thinking it was going to pop real quick. Then his teammate pops and commits, and then all of a sudden we're waiting around for a few weeks, and he kind of becomes an afterthought to the casual fan. He's
just enjoying the experience.
Are obviously, they obviously know about him. Then surprise, Tyler Lockhart is going to be coming and throwing a wrench in all the prediction machines. Everyone is just, they don't know what to think about Tyler Lockhart.
No.
You've talked with him, not recently, had you? But okay.
No, I've reached out recently, but I think he's keeping everything close to his vest. He was very enthusiastic and very open about his commitment to Auburn whenever we first started talking. But after that decommitment, I feel like he just started keeping things closer to the vest. It was actually a huge surprise to me and a lot of other people that he was actually on the official visitor list for this weekend.
Yeah.
Very big surprise.
I was surprised as well. Yeah, I was surprised as well. And then before it's all said and done, Broderick Scholl may end up being the highest rated player we have in this class by the end of his senior year. He's listed here as a 4-star, but that's a composite 4-star. On3 has him as like one of the best players in the country. The national rank is his composite. They have him as, I think, the 13th overall player. They have him as a 5-star. This dude is a monster, so it's great to have him on an official visit, have him here on campus, because we want to make sure we solidify this. We cannot let this guy go anywhere.
No.
We need him and his cows or bees. It was bees. That's what it was.
I think
we
it was
need
bees.
him and his bees to show up, so that way we can beat Bama. And we need that offensive line help. And he's, dude, I think he's the top target in this entire class. I think he is the crown jewel when it's all said and done.
I mean, it could be. He's definitely one of the more important pieces, so I can see where you're coming from. You know, it is also confirmed that he's on campus right now. So he's already showed up, and him and Alvin Henderson, and I believe at least one other player have already shown up and are just walking campus right now and enjoying their visit. But I don't think he's going anywhere. I just don't. He was a hard Auburn lean in the early part of his recruitment.
He was
hard Auburn lean towards the end of his recruitment, and he's a hard Auburn commit right now.
Yeah. And surprise, surprise, breaking news, Alvin Henderson is once again back on campus. No surprise here. Even if he wasn't on the list, I'm pretty sure he
would have been there.
See him. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's in coaches' meetings nowadays, just because he's there on campus so much. And then we got Elijah Melendez, who is one of those linebackers that you really, really want. And
yes.
A lot of people have a lot of praise for him, but I'm pretty sure he's a hard.
His family loves Miami. Yeah. They love everything about that school. He loves everything about that school, but he's definitely still flirting hard with Auburn.
And then we got Tavares Dice, Jordan Crawford, Devin Williams, Donovan Starr, all hard commits. So it's just about locking them down, getting them to help recruit the other players that are on flip watch, and continuing that recruitment of these guys. I don't want to undervalue them at all, because they're all 4-star players and very good at what they do. But the sexy thing to talk about is the possible flips, and one of the ones that everyone is talking about. And then you got Ryan Gee, Hollis Davidson's going to show up, Sam Turner. That's the one that everyone is talking about right now, because we don't have Caleb Cunningham. Maybe we have Derek Smith by the end of it, but right now we don't. Sam Turner is when you look at the measurables, he's a Hugh Freeze wide receiver. And why not go after a rising 3-star?
No, no kidding. I mean, I feel like Sam Turner is one of those guys where we obviously entered the recruiting battle late, but he's definitely hearing it, because as it stands right now, his top contenders are Georgia Tech, Georgia, BYU, Alabama, Maryland. I don't think Alabama or Georgia really would be pushing too hard for him. I mean, his size is super impressive. That would probably be their biggest pull towards him. But with Auburn entering pretty late and being currently committed to Georgia Tech, and then his next highest interest would be BYU, I don't think anyone thinks that BYU is a sexy place to play. It's pretty to be down there. Like, it's pretty to be in LaVell Edwards Stadium and watch games. But I mean, being late to the party is better than not coming to the party.
No, I agree. And Georgia Tech has had a history of getting some really good, talented receivers.
Two receivers.
Yeah, I know, but
Marius Thomas and Calvin Johnson. That's it.
I agree. But again, I mean, it's just, I think it's a possibility that he stays with that. Why can I not remember his name? The guy that we hired, I've been trying to look him up. The guy that we hired that has the real strong ties to the Metro Atlanta area, Keontae.
No, not Keontae. Oh my God. Yeah, your brain fart gave me a brain fart.
Yep. So, but he's got strong ties. He's got strong ties to the guy that really, invented strong ties in Atlanta, basically. And Keoti, I want to say, you're looking him up. I can hear you typing, but
I am.
So hopefully we can use that relationship that he has with them to get them to commit, because Auburn is the bigger, is the bigger program over Georgia Tech. Maybe Georgia Tech wants to get into the SEC again, but it's just not going to happen. And playing in the SEC versus the ACC, it's a big difference. And then I can't even say his last name, Shamar Honorix. I butchered it. I completely butchered this dude's name. He's a USC hard commit. So who knows what's going to happen there. We're really stacked at cornerback, so who knows. And then rounding out the high profile 2025
Kenyatta Watson.
Kenyatta Watson.
Kenyatta Watson.
Kenyatta Watson.
That took me way too long.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it was just both of us, absolutely terrible. But
where Alabama was hanging
out. Ty Buster, Dante Core, Bryce Diaz, Jacoby Ward, and Spencer Dowland are all going to be visiting. Again, hard commits. It's just about maintaining, because right now it's, everyone's talking about these big flips that we could possibly get, and the people that are committed elsewhere. That's what everyone's talking about. But a lot about what this weekend is maintaining our relationship with the commits that we already have. Auburn is well ahead of where it traditionally is at this time of the year. And so, there's not a lot of high profile players that are essentially a lock to flip or to commit. And so, with that being said, how many players do you think we're going to see commit this weekend?
I like
to. I'm not talking about Fagans and Woodby, or maybe Woodby, but and Smith, Jared Smith. I'm not talking about those guys because they're going to commit after the weekend. But I'm talking about Saturday and Sunday. Who are we going to see?
I think it would be. It would be okay to assume that Auburn could land 2, possibly 3 commitments this weekend. Anything above that is just sunshine pumping.
Yeah, I would love 2 commits. I think that would just be huge, because it very well could be, some big players, and we may not even know some of the people that are going to be visiting. And
yeah, that's true.
Everyone talks about, hey, there's going to be some players that we're not talking about. Offered is one of them that you were saying is not on the official. I got his name off of the On3. They showed that he was on the
yeah, that's what I'm looking at, actually.
And so they're saying that he's going to be there. But the big 3 surprises that everyone is hoping we get one of them to visit is the quarterbacks. And again, I was listening to the Auburn Live podcast today. Shout out those guys, Cole Peakston and those guys, and what they're doing. They were talking, there's some chatter that started on Thursday about Juju Lewis being there this weekend and him being the one that shows up. Dude, I am sick and tired of this. It's not that I don't like the guy and I don't want him. I want him, but I want it to be over at this point. I'm just
It's done. The whole will they, won't they, Ross and Rachel debacle, man. It's just, I'm tired of it. Either get it done or, just take us out of the running. That's where I stand at this point.
So, but what do you think the chances are? Are we going to see one of these 3, or are we probably going to have to push getting a commitment from a quarterback on board later in the cycle during the season? What do you think?
Well, I would say, based off of the 3 quarterbacks that could or couldn't come, I would say we sit at about a 33 to 34% chance at least seeing one, because that puts us at 1 out of 3. So I mean, I'm not too optimistic that any of them are going to show up, but if they do, hey, they show up.
I am, the homer in me is thinking, okay, we had the Juju Lewis. I did it. I corrected myself. The Juju Lewis saga going on, and we finally got him on board, and we're like, hey, let's hold off. Let's do a misdirect. Let's make everybody think that you're not going to come. You're not going to be committed. Let's open our recruitment of different players. And all along, this kid is on board for the last month. I hope that that's what it is. I hope it's what it is on one of them at this point. Again, I'm tired of it. I'm done with it. So I don't care who it is. I just want one of them on board, and I'm hoping it's originally Lewis. It's the one that we coveted from the very beginning. It's the one that Hugh Freeze kind of, he pushed us in that direction, I
don't know, man. That's like hoping for a Hail Mary against Georgia in the fourth quarter. It's so unlikely to happen that it could happen. I don't know.
Hey, 2013, prayer at Jordan era, it happened. So, who knows? But let's go ahead and talk about our last topic this episode. We just got announced that they are going to be increasing the scholarship numbers in all of sports due to the settlement that the NCAA has now. Now, a lot of people may not think that this is a big deal, but going from 85 scholarships in football to 105, 13 in basketball to 15. Baseball is 11.7. I don't even know how that's a statistic, but going up to 34. Softball going from 12 to 25. And then volleyball from 12 to 18. In total, schools are going to have 1,200 scholarships across all sports to offer these kids. This is going to possibly, I feel like it's just going to be a headache, and schools are not going to know what to do, especially football. Basketball, I'm sure your top programs are going to be able to get it. But I think this also, hurts the smaller schools, and it takes away the ability for them to get those 3 stars. Why not? If we have 105 spots, why not, if you're Auburn, go ahead and offer the 10 3 stars that really could potentially do something, but at the very least, they're going to help you on the practice squad. And so it's going to ruin it for the smaller schools, I think.
An increase of 20 scholarships for the football program alone is absolutely nuts to me.
Yeah. I mean, that's an entire recruiting class.
Yeah, like you don't know what you're going to be able to do with all that friggin' talent on your roster. I mean, unless these guys that come in late or late additions and part of that extra 20 scholarship offers is just that I don't know if they'll be chasing, elite education or the possibility of upsetting a higher rated player on the roster. I don't know. It's just the increase to 20 scholarships doesn't make too much sense to me.
Yeah. And so I think it's a big deal. Not a lot of people are making a lot of it just because it's not happening right away. But I think it's a huge deal, and just wanted to touch base on it in this episode. But we're going to end it right there. It's gone on a little bit longer than I had hoped, really. But Josh, tell the people where they can get our content.
Check us out on X. Check us out on TikTok. Check us out at YouTube, all under War Eagle Weekly. We post weekly, sometimes multiple times a week. It's getting fun. It's getting good. And, in the words of the immortal Charlie 5, we're ready to boog.
And on that bombshell that you and me are ready to boog, War Eagle Josh.
War Eagle Cameron.